Hi, welcome back to Golf Training Hacks. I'm sure you've been told many times that you can't glide your hips too far forward and too far to the rear in the golf swing. And while that's absolutely true, there is some glide in your hips in the golf swing. It does move away from the target and to the target somewhat, just not a lot. But what is going to help you stop, or what actually does stop the rear glide and the forward glide? Well, it's hip extension. And here's what I mean. On your backswing, as you put force into the inside part of your rear foot, this hip is extending to the rear and this knee is straightening out. That's helping stop this rearward glide. As you come into impact and through impact and leg release, this forward hip is extending forcefully rearward and this knee is straightening. And that's helping you prevent too much glide over your front foot. The thing is, it's really easy for me to do this when I'm just standing here. It's a lot harder in the golf swing, as we all know. And that's because there's a lot of rotational force in the golf swing. That makes hip extension under rotational force really tough for a lot of golfers, because they just don't have the strength in their hips and lower body to control the rotational forces while they're trying to extend and stop too much glide to the target and too much glide away from the target. So in this video, we're going to show you some exercises from our hip extension program. Now, the hip extension program was designed to put strength into your hips so that you can control the rotational force of a golf swing, and that you can get this strong extension from the backside and the front side, and it will help you prevent too much forward and rearward glide. So let's get started putting some strength into those hips. A kettlebell deadlift. This is a level 1 exercise in our hip extension program. You can use the same technique that you would use if you were deadlifting a barbell. So step into the kettlebell. You're going to hip hinge back. Drop your hands and hips to the kettlebell. Keep it in your center of gravity. Now do it from the side. Step over the kettlebell. You want to keep it in your center of gravity. You're going to hip hinge back, drop your hips and hands to the kettlebell, and lift. My hips are going back, and my knees are not shooting out forward. So this is not the motion. Hips are going back. So that's a level 1 exercise in our hip extension program. So classically, a Romanian deadlift is done with a bar and plates. So from the front, I'm going to just deadlift this up. So from the front, a Romanian deadlift looks like this. I have my shoulders engaged, the bar is rubbing on my pants all the way down, shoulders engaged, my back is in neutral position. Now my knees are slightly bent, my feet are about shoulder width, and I'm going down. My back stays neutral and up. My knee angle doesn't move. Stand all the way up. There's no shrug here. It's just standing up. Back stays neutral. Knees stay at the same angle. So I'm going to deadlift this bar up. So I have the bar against my legs. My shoulders are engaged. I bend my knees just a little bit. They stay bent at that angle. And now my hips go back. Hips go back. Hips go back. I keep that neutral spine and come up. Hips go back. The bar is engaged. Hips go back. Hips go back. Hips go back. And up. So that's classically the way you would do a Romanian deadlift with a bar. This is a level 2 exercise from our hip extension program. It's a deadlift with pulleys. Let me show you how it's done. So for this technique, you're going to use the same technique that you would if you were deadlifting a barbell, except now you have handles with pulleys in your hand instead of a bar. So you want some tension on this. You want to keep the tension on it. You're going to hip hinge back, drop your hips to the handles, bring the handles into you, and deadlift them up. The way not to do this is with the handles out here, hip hinge back, and then lift. That's putting a lot of shearing force on your back. You want the handles into you. Hip hinge back, drop your hips to the handles, and the handles are coming in. I'm keeping them with my knees.